Our Tennessee state standard today is to solve linear equations with rational number coefficients, including equations whose solutions require expanding expressions using the distributive property and collecting like terms. And last week we actually looked at solving one-step equations. Today we're going to look at solving two-step equations. So your lesson objective, I am learning to solve two-step equations. We'll need to pause and write that down. All right, so if we wanted to model with the algebra tiles, let's review. Our rectangles are our variable, green for positive, red for negative. And we talked about those terms yesterday, variable and constant. Our constant is represented by yellow for positive and red for negative. So if I wanted to model 2x, I would drag out 2 of the positive or green rectangles plus 3, so 3 positive little squares, and equals 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more, 7. Now, normally with the order of operations, we divide first, but if we try to undo the division first and divide it into 2 groups, we have one that we're going to have to cut in half. And you might be able to do that, but it's much easier if we get rid of our constants first. So we're going to get rid of our squares, and we're going to take away 3. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So now we have 2x equals 4, and we can divide this into 2 groups. You and one for me, and one for you, and one for me, so that x equals 2. So what we have done...
All second load remaining students to the bus line, please. All second load remaining students to the bus line, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not starting this over again. This is the 3rd time. All right, so we subtracted 3 or took away 3 from each side, which left us with 2x equals 4. 2x equals 4, and you know to undo the division or the multiplication, we have to divide both sides by 2, which gives us x equals 2. All right, to solve two-step equations. Now, I'm pretty sure I gave you in your notes the term two-step equation. And you need to write the definition, an equation that contains 2 operations. So in the previous example, 2x plus 3, and you'll have to pause that and write it down. In the previous example, 2x plus 3 equals 7. X is multiplied by 2, 2x, and then 3 is added. So to solve two-step equations, we are going to undo each operation in reverse order. So we're going to undo addition and subtraction before we undo our multiplication and division. All right, so next Wednesday when we come back, we will have a foldable that will actually go through the different steps all the way up through the distributive property. All right, the steps for solving two-step equations. Now you'll need to write these down. Step 1, box in the terms. Draw the line in front of the sign. Remember, I said that. It will help you, and I will ask you if you have done that. Step 2, find the constant. We learned yesterday that the constant is the term without the variable. Find the constant that is on the same side of the equation as the variable, and do the opposite, either add or subtract. Step 3, final step before we check it. Step 3 is to divide by the coefficient or multiply by the denominator to get the variable by itself. So let's try some. All right, so first we're going to box in our terms, draw the line in front of the sign. Let me do this with a different color. So let's do it with purple. So there are 2 terms. We want to get rid of the box that does not have the variable in it. So we want to get rid of minus 3. The opposite of minus 3 is plus 3. That leaves us with 1/4 n equals 28. Now remember, we said that 1/4 n is the same thing as n over 4. So we need to multiply by 4 on each side. So that gives us n equals 4 8's 32, 4 2's 8 plus 3 is 11. N equals 112. So let's just see if that works. 1/4 times 112 would be 112 over 4. So 4 goes into 11 2 times. With 3 left over, 4 goes into 32 8 times. So 28 minus 3 is 25. So we know that number is correct, or that solution is correct. So some more examples. Step 1, draw the line in front of the sign. Step 2, find the box that does not have the variable. We're looking for the constant. Our constant is minus 5. We do the opposite, plus 5. That leaves us with 2x equals 28. And now it's a one-step equation. You divide and conquer so that x equals 14. So this says 2 times 14, which is 28, minus 5 equals 23. And that is correct. Draw the line in front of the sign. So if we don't have a sign with our constant 21, it's positive, which means we're going to have to subtract. That leaves us with 3n. 15 minus 21 is negative 6. Step 3, we divide and conquer so that n equals negative 2. So this is 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. I'll write that in so you can see that. And 21 minus 6 equals 15. All right, last but not least, draw the line in front of the sign. We're getting rid of the box that does not have the variable, so the opposite of plus 7 is minus 7. That leaves us with 1/2 a, or a over 2, equals negative 10. We have to multiply by 2. So a equals negative 20. So 1/2 times negative 20 is negative 10 plus 7 equals negative 3. So that is correct. So you'll need to pause and write that down. All right, if we have negative coefficients, no different. We're just going to divide by negative numbers. Still draw your line in front of the sign. Sign goes with the term that follows it. So this is a positive 6. We're going to subtract 6. That leaves us with negative 3x equals 21 minus 6 is 15. We're going to divide by negative 3, which gives us 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. So negative 3 times negative 5 is actually positive 15. 6 plus 15 equals 21. Pause the video, write that down. More examples. All right, this one's kind of tough. We're still going to subtract 10. That leaves us with negative 2/3 p equals 12. This is the first time that we've had something besides a 1 in our numerator. So we're dividing because it's a coefficient, but when we divide by a fraction, we actually multiply by its reciprocal. So that cancels out, leaves us with p equals 12 times negative 3 is negative 36 divided by 2, which equals negative 18. So let's see. So we're subtracting. Actually, it's going to be addition because we have a negative times a negative. So 18 times 2 is 36 divided by 3, which would be plus 12. 10 plus 12 equals 22. Draw the line in front of the sign. Step 1. Step 2, eliminate the constant that's on the same side as the variable. So find the box that doesn't have the variable, do the opposite. The opposite of plus 2 is minus 2. Negative 13 minus 2 is negative 15, equals negative 3x. We divide by our negative coefficient. X equals negative, divided by negative is positive, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So, negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13. Draw the line in front of the sign. Step 1, box in your terms. We're going to add 3. That gives us n over negative 3 equals negative 7. We multiply by the denominator. N equals 21. So, 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7, minus 3 is negative 10. So make sure you pause the video and write those down. Let's do a real world example. The formula F equals 1.8C plus 32 can be used to convert between degrees Fahrenheit and degrees Celsius. Convert Chicago's lowest temperature of negative 27 Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. So Fahrenheit will be negative 27 equals 1.8 C plus 32. Box in your terms. Subtract 32. That will give us 1.8 C equals negative 59. When we divide by 1.8, notice I am not dividing by the C, just by the 1.8. C equals, I don't feel like doing that by long division, so I'm going to use a calculator. So we are saying 59 negative divided by 1.8 equals, and it actually equals negative 32.7 repeating. So take some time, pause the video, and write that down. Let's do some more examples. Simone has $150 for a class trip that costs $320. She needs to save money for the next 10 weeks in order to pay for the trip. Solve the equation 10D plus 150 equals 320. So 10D plus 150 equals 320. Step 1, draw the line in front of the sign and then box in your terms. Step 2, eliminate the constant on the same side as the variable. That would leave us with 10D equals 12 minus 5 is 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. And if we divide both sides by D, not by D. You can tell I'm tired, can't you? We're dividing by the coefficient, which is 10. So if we divide both sides by 10, we get D equals 17. So 10 times 17, which is 170. 170 plus 150 equals 320. That is correct, and that is the end of our lesson. Have a great day.